Hey everyone, this is Dr. Nada, and today we're going to be doing that long form video that you all voted for today, which is going to be where we cover how to make that custom weapon model step by step, but less abridged like in the other one that I made. So I am going to be following the text tutorial as we go through this, so feel free to follow along. I'm going to go through every step, including the installing Blender step, just so you really see how it all goes. So let's go ahead and get started, and of course, as usual, let me know in the comments if you have any questions at all. So let's start with step one, where we're going to be installing the software that we need to get this all working. So we're going to start with Blender. So I'm on blender.org right now, and we need to download it to get it working. So I'll go to the download page here by clicking here, download the software, wait for it to start, and then after getting that, we'll click save and start getting it downloaded. So once you click it, it will go to a setup wizard like this. You can click through it. I'm not necessarily going to start it because I already have it all set up. But once you do that, it should be ready to go. Now, the second part of step one is we're going to be downloading this Blender package that will allow us to export the models that we make. So I'm on the GitHub page here with the link available in the video description. So what we're gonna do, all we have to do to take care of this is click the green code button and then click download zip. And then that will download it into place. And we'll go back and access that a little bit later. So once you've downloaded it, we can go and put it into the Blender directories that we need for what we're doing. So you can go ahead and we can click on the folder there to extract it. Click extract all, which is here. And then we're gonna go into this folder. And then we just have to copy this folder to put into our Blender folder. So after we copy that, we'll then go and put it into our Blender folder. So to get there, we'll scroll down, we'll go to C. So once we went to C, we'll go to Program Files, and then we'll go to Blender Foundation. We'll go to the version of Blender that we're using. Go to 3.6 or the version that you're currently using, scripts, add-ons, and then we paste in that folder. So I've already gone ahead and do that. So like if I tried to paste it right now, it would just be replacing what's already there. So we're gonna leave it, I'm gonna leave it alone, but you definitely need it. And now we're gonna go in and install lslib, which is another tool that we're gonna need to get things done for this video. So you can go to the lslib page in the video description and we'll show up right about here. So what we need to do is we need to get the release file. So I just clicked on the release button, which is right over here on the release part. I clicked it, and then we just need to download the zip file again. So clicking it will download it. You do the whole extraction thing again and just put it someplace convenient. But you could leave it in downloads too if you want. It doesn't really matter where it is. It's more about just being able to know where it is. It's when you need it. So now we get to step two, where we finally start working with the toolkit a little bit. So we'll have to go back away from the toolkit in a moment, but this is where we get the model that we want to base things on. So for this step, for the main video, I assumed that you all followed my prior video on making your own weapon. We're gonna go through that just a little bit here. I am going to abridge it because I want this to be efficient and focus on this task. But feel free to reference the video if it's helpful and leave any questions if there's anything I can clarify. So what we're gonna do, I already loaded a level. So what I wanna do is I wanna work on weapon human katana. So I went to this root template box here and we have the katana right here. Now we are not necessarily just gonna edit what is already existing here. Like the exciting thing about this tutorial is that we're making something that is completely your own. I'm not going to be making custom stats for this, but we can make our own custom weapon with this. So what we can do is right click on it and then click create new from selected. Now that is going to create this window, which I'm dragging over here. And then we can pretty much just leave everything exactly as it is because we'll be editing it a little bit later. But the one thing we do need to edit is to give it its own brand new name. So I'm gonna go with the whole Merblade thing that I did for the prior video because it's convenient. But you can name it whatever you want. So let's just call it Weapon Merblade. And for the display name, which will show up in the game, it will also show up as Merblade. And I'm just gonna leave everything else. We don't need to edit that right now. So the reason why we ultimately created that though, is because we are gonna edit its existing model. So to be able to export that model and do things to it, we need to give the toolkit a place to put it. So that's why we're gonna be going to options and preferences. Then we're gonna be going to global settings and going to the source asset data path. So I set it to a folder that's convenient for me, but you can just click this triple period button here and set it wherever you'd like for where the toolkit will look at where the models are, along with where it's gonna put out the models that we export in a moment. So now we get to the awesome part where we export our models. So go up to the toolbar here. You're gonna see the create and view resources button here, which is like a bunch of crayons in a box. We want to find the weapon that we're ultimately basing this off of. So I'm using that katana model. So I searched weapon human katana. So what I want to do is click on the visual resource, which holds the model for this. And then I'm going to right click on that and click extract visual data. And then if I click yes, it's going to put it into the folder that I delineated earlier, which is where we can start editing. So you would click yes just to export it and everything, and it will go to that folder. So now we're gonna go and start downloading the models for our custom weapon. So I'm just gonna go and stick SpongeBob at the end of it because I personally still find it hilarious. So we're gonna download this and download the 3D model. We're going to get the original format DAE, and we want to remember that because ultimately we want to know the type of importing to use for Blender. So I've already downloaded, so we'll be able to more easily put it, but you just put it in the folder that you want. Now we get to step 3, where we're this close to starting to put together our custom model. So what we have to do right now is to ultimately convert the thing that we exported from the toolkit and put it in a format that Blender can read. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to that export tool, the lslib that we downloaded before, and you're gonna go to where you extracted it. So I extracted it into a folder where I keep my Baldur's Gate 3 content organized. So open up the folder, go to packed, and click converter app to open it up. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna convert that GR2 file that the toolkit exported and convert it to something that Blender can read. So for the input file path, you can click the triple period again and go to the place where you had the model. So we're gonna take the weapon human katana a GR2 file, put that in, and then you would just copy and paste whatever model thing you have there at the bottom, but put the ending to be DAE, which is going to be readable by Blender. So now what you have to do is you have the different paths in place. So you click the import button. You're going to see all the different meshes and layers that are present there. We're going to unclick XFlip meshes. That's just going to be relevant for making sure things show up properly. And then we can click export, and we completed that successfully. So now we get to play with Blender. So we're gonna bring all those things in and get to work. So I already opened up Blender here. Really all you have to do is just launch it. You can delete that box if you want, just clicking the delete button. So after we delete that box, let's start bringing in the models so we can play with them. So we exported everything or downloaded everything as DAE as the file extension. So with the file, we're going to go to import and import as Collada. So once you open up this file window, just go back and find the model that you ultimately produced. So what we have here is we want to ultimately import the katana thing first, because that's going to be the base for our model. So let's just click that and click import. And we have it in place, which is exactly what we want. Next, we're going to be deleting the levels of detail hierarchies. So the LOD 1 and 2, we don't technically need to delete them. I think those essentially do is they allow different levels of detail to exist when your camera is closer or farther away from the character. This video is really about producing something that works for people starting this all out. So it'll be something useful for down the road, but let's focus on producing something functional first. So I have both of those highlighted. Click the delete button and they're gone. So drag to encompass your entire model, click Control A, and we're going to apply all transforms. This is something that we're going to be doing multiple times just to make sure everything turns out as it should. Now that our weapon's in place, let's import our custom model so we can start putting that together. So let's go back to File, Import DAE. We're going to go to the SpongeBob and Mermaid Man thing, go to the source, and take the giant SpongeBob model. So now that we have a big SpongeBob model, we of course want to align it to the actual weapon. So really all we need to do is click it. You can go to this orange square button, which will bring you to the transform menu. So really what we want to do here is make it smaller so we can align it. So I'm just going to set the scale to 0.01 for all of them. Let's see if that is the right size. Great, so that looks good. So we have our SpongeBob model, then we're gonna rotate it to using the rotation and inputs, and then you can use the location, kind of move him along the different axes. And I'm holding shift to move around while holding down the middle mouse key if you just want to figure out how to do that. I'm happy with that. Okay, so now that we have that all ready, let's go and apply all the transforms so it's all set. So again, click on that and click Control A, all transforms, and all the numbers down here should all normalize back down to 0. And you could also drag and drop everything too if you want to do that, but it should be all set that way. So now what we're going to do is make the weapons armature the parent of each of our models. So go ahead and click on your weapon, hold down Control and click armature. In the window, click Control P, and then we're going to set the parent to armature with empty groups. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set the parent for our custom model that we brought in to the actual armature and parent of our base weapon so they go together. So we're going to click on the material 102 after I deleted their vertex groups, and then control click on armature again, Control P, and empty groups. So now the material is going to be under that base weapon. So click on that armature, hold down Control and click your weapon armature, Control P again, and empty groups. So now everything is grouped under there. So now you're gonna see if you expand our armature, we have the SpongeBob thing along with our weapon model all together under the weapon armature. So now that we have put everything in the right structure that we want to make it so the vertex groups are matched up with the topmost bone for our weapons, so they all go together. So you can see that topmost bone for the template that we're using by expanding this armature button here, and you'll see that it's dummy weapon human katana A. So we'll just click on the SpongeBob because we want to assign that first. We'll go to the blue wrench here, the modifiers tab, and then we want to set the vertex group to that dummy weapon human katana. So scroll down a little bit and then just set it like that. And then we're going to do the same for the actual mesh of that weapon. So again, click on it and then set the group to dummy human weapon katana A. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set the weights for our model just to make sure everything will show up as it should. So in order to do this, we're going to focus on our models one at a time. So let's click SpongeBob first and then hit tab to open up the edit mode. And then we can click A to select everything that is a part of it. And then we're going to be going to the data tab, which is this upside down triangle, and then we're going to assign it the 100% weight for the weapon human katana a mesh, and assign it a weight of 1. And that way, if we go out to the weights pane to check to make sure that it's appropriately assigned, it should all be red like this. And then we want to do this for our other objects too. So what we'll do is go back to object mode, select our weapon, click tab to go to edit mode, click A to select everything, and then again apply the weight to be 1.0 for that katana mesh, not the LODs, and then click assign. And that way, when we go to the weight tab again, we'll see that it's all red, so it's what it should be. And now we're so close to exporting it. So what we're gonna do now is just make sure that the toolkit can import it as we need to. So go ahead and drag everything, go to this objects tab, the yellow square, and then expand the BG3 settings and click the rigid button. And then we're gonna make it so the meshes are in order, so the game pretty much knows how to load each of them consecutively. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go down to the export order here. I clicked on the sword. I'll set that export order as 1, and then I'll click on SpongeBob and change his export number to 2. So that's all that we have to do here, aside from applying all transforms again. So I'll go ahead and select everything, click Control A, and apply all transforms. So now we can finally export our model so we can ultimately bring it into the toolkit for our use. So this is going to rely on using that add-on that we downloaded and installed before. So let's go ahead and enable it. So what we're going to do is go to Edit and Preferences, and then we're going to be in the Add-ons tab. And then when we're in the Add-ons tab, we'll search for the DOS2 exporter, and I have it enabled already, so you'll want to make sure it's enabled too. Now it's also important that you set the path to the divine.exe file. So I've already gone and set that. But essentially it's an executable file that will produce the file formats that you need. So in order to set the divine path, we'll just go back to where the lslib was. So if we wanted to set it manually, for example, we would be in packed where the converter tool was, where we started lslib. And then the divine.exe is going to be in the tools folder, which is this divine.exe. So we have that already. So now we have everything ready for export. So now let's go ahead and drag to select everything in one. So then we're going to go to File, Export, DOS2 BG3 via Collada. So we're going to export as we want. You can give it whatever name you want. I'm going to name it for this video Merblade Exhibition. Now this is going to be where there are a few settings that we want to adjust before we export. So after you name it, set the Y up right here and make that disabled. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to apply the selected only, just to make sure we're only exporting the things we want in case there's some weird thing in the background that we're not accounting for. And then what we're going to do is open up, click the show GR2 options, and then we have this checkbox on flip meshes on X axis. So uncheck that so it's not enabled. Now we can put it somewhere that's convenient. I'm going to put it into the models folder that I had things before, and we can click export. And if everything worked, you should have an export completed successfully show up right at the bottom there. And if there are any problems, again, just let me know and we'll work through this. So now we're finally at step 6 where we can bring this into the toolkit and make this all happen. So it's so exciting. So let's go ahead and import our custom model. So we're going to go back to the crayons tab, the create and view resources. We're already there. Then we're going to click the add resource. So we're going to import a model right here. So now we can import our model. So click this little button here, the add resource button. It's going to be right there. And then we're going to import a model. We're going to change the the drop down for what files that we can import to GR2, we'll be able to see our Merblade exhibition model, click open, and click OK. And what you'll see is that your model should show up like this. It should be laying flat on the ground, and you should see your weapon in action. Now we'll click the import button, and it'll take just a few moments to properly import, but then if you look at the bottom of the window, you'll see that it imported the model, so it worked. And if we search for our weapon like I have here in the resources, you can see that it's there and it's showing up. But that's not the last step, because we're gonna give the custom weapon that we made, that root template, we're gonna give it this resource. So let's go ahead, let's open that up. I double clicked on the root template resource there. So what we wanna do is change the visual resource ID. So click this drop down menu right here, type in Merblade exhibition, we'll set it, and you'll see that it's exactly as we want it. But let's show it off in game. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click back here, click the play button. I'm gonna click yes to save the new root templates because that's important.
Your mind reels. You shut your eyes. The mission.
Okay, so Shadowheart is gonna
the
be
artifact.
Shadowheart's
was sent to
playing
retrieve
with
it, and now
SpongeBob.
only you remain. Such an insignificant seeming item.
Okay, so I'm just gonna move Shadowheart to a place where I can more easily see things. I'll click that button again to pause it. We'll drag it in. You might not see it. That's a separate issue that can happen in the toolkit based off of particular bounds that you would have for a custom template. If we go back in game, you just hold down Alt to highlight it, click it, and we'll pick it up. And when we equip it, we have SpongeBob! So you can see that he's showing up exactly as he should. Looks incredible. And then if I get the sword button, you see that he's like just okay, so let's smash SpongeBob against this. Oh my god. Oh my god, okay, we got this. Let's see what else we can hit with SpongeBob. So I'm not gonna get too carried away with seeing all the different things I can hit with SpongeBob, but as you saw, we can make our root templates do some very interesting things, and I basically made a joke mod, but you can use this to make serious and more thematically consistent things too. So be sure to share on my community tab on Patreon all the interesting things that you make, and keep on voting on my polls because I have fun with this and I'd like to make things that are fun for you too. So thanks for watching, and all the people who have given me such support. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and Starship out.